For live guys, no cell phone.
All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. You know, today was a mixed day in terms of the weather. When I got up this morning, it was okay, but then it rained and then it snowed and then the sun came out and then it got chilly again. So I mean, I guess it's like Will Rogers used to say of the weather in Oklahoma: if you don't like it, wait 5 minutes and it will change. And it does, but it's a beautiful evening out there, and we are all blessed to be here on this Shabbat evening. And so we have two of our strangers, no, not two strangers, but two guys who have been tremendously busy the last couple of months, but they are back and are raring to go. So I have them benching lick this evening, James and Sam, page 3, page 2, wherever they want to begin.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher hirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'halit ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Jennifer. Let's continue with a responsive reading. Page 9. Page 9. Let's read responsively in English. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
We should not be standing wondering for the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing about the rights of others.
On Shabbat, we remember the justice of our duty and bear our goal.
So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. And we'll continue welcoming Shabbat. That's what Kabbalat Shabbat means, the welcoming of Shabbat, the receiving of Shabbat. Page 20 and 21, Lecha Dodi, brought to us from the mystics of Sfat, beautiful city in the north of Israel, in the Galil, in the Galilee, as it were, in the hills, and the mystics who mostly were there, who came from Spain, would go out as the sun was setting, dressed in their white garments, and they would welcome Shabbat with psalms and songs. And this poem by Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, one of the great Mekubalim, Lecha Dodi, is one that they used a lot. And so that's what we're using this evening. Page 20 at the top. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, tenei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, tenei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor zachor v'dibor echad, v'ishmi'anu el ha'yuchad, Adonai echad u'shmaho echad, L'shem tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Tenei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki mikor ha'bracha, Merosh mitedem lehesucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshava tchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Tenei Shabbat nekabela, Mikdash melech ir melucha, U'mitzehi mitaharecha, Rabla hakshevet v'yemech habracha, V'hu yachamol alaychem la, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Tenei Shabbat nekabela, Nitna ari yapahar kumi, Likshi Bideti Farte Tami, Al Yad Benishai, Betalachmi, Korva El Nafshi Yehavah, Lecha Dodi Likratala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Orveri, Itori, Kiva Ore Kumi Ori, Shirda Beri, Kvod Adonai Alai Nila, Lecha Dodi Likrat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela, Lo Tevoshi, Lo Tikomi, Mahatish tochachi matehemi, vahyehesu aniyeheyami, v'nifnetahir altila, lehadodi likrat kala, v'nei shabbat likabila, v'hayu l'shitza shohosayich, v'rahachaku kol mevalayich, Yasi Salai Elohai Kim Sos Hatan Al Kala Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabila Yamin Usmol Tifrutzi V'et Adonai Taritzi Al Yahadish Ben Partzi V'nismecha v'nagila, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei shabbat nekabela, bo'im b'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'sola, tochem u'nei am simcha, bo'im chala, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Let's turn to page 222, and let's read some verses from Psalm 92, the Psalm for Shabbat. Let's read the outdented paragraph together in English, and then we'll go up to the indented paragraph for Tzaddik Katamar. A psalm for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love in daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have led me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai! How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Tzadikata ha'yifra, ke'erez malvadot, yiskeh shetuli, b'beit Adonai, b'chatzrot Eloheinu, Ya'afrihu. Oh, Jehu, B'Sehema, B'Sheni, B'Rahananim, Yiyu, Lehavi, Yashar Adonai, Tzuri, Velo Avlatavo. Page 24. Let's greet the two angels who come to spend Shabbat with us. As I was teaching the little ones in our tiny human Shabbat this evening, everything on Shabbat is doubled. We have two halot, which is reminiscent of the double portion of of the manna that the Israelites gathered while they were in the wilderness. We have two candles for Shabbat. We have two angels that the Mekubalim, that the mystics tell us, accompany us from Shul and spend Shabbat with us, because we also have a Neshama Yetera, a second soul that comes to spend Shabbat with us as well. We're doubled on Shabbat. So page 24, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Loachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seifem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 146, we have just completed Kabbalat Shabbat. The Shabbat is with us, and now we're entering into the Arvit, the evening service. Baruch Hu, page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Let's read together in English on page 147 near the bottom. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. For all things pass, but not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'arihi Ha'ravihi. The second blessing before Shema, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Ukim mishpati, otanu li'adeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, v'shofreinu u'kumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu. U'bahem neged yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohel Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, Bechol vachaha, ubechol nafshecha, ubechol yodecha, v'hayu advarim ha'elech, asher Elohim mitzavecha, hayom al babecha, v'shinatam levanecha, v'divartecha, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, U'blechtecha b'derech, u'b'shoktecha u'kumecha, Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha, ve'hayu l'totafot beinenecha, uftahtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha, le'ma'an tizkeru v'asitem kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim ve'loechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeiti Echem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151. Let's read responsibly in the English. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet their oneness shines our breast, and imperfection be bound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
We grant everyone will claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learn God's presence redeems time and death, as we celebrate His power and praise of freedom.
Top of 151. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nohorati lo, ohosei feleh. V'alchutecha ra'u banecha, v'okeyam lifnei Moshe, ze'li anu v'yamru, Adonai lo le'olam moed, v'nehemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ga'alo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai, ga'al Yisrael. Page 153, the top two lines of Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Well, let's read together at the bottom in English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft, evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of page 154, verses from the book of Shemot, from the book of Exodus, Vishamru, and it's not Shabbat if we don't have Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Misheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz, vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We're at the central prayer of the evening service, the Amidah. Pages 155, 156, and 157 we'll chant together. And then we'll go silently, 158 through the end on 167. And during that time, you can finish the Amidah in Hebrew. You can read the English translations, or you can offer up your own meditative prayer at that time. But we're going to begin together on page 155. Adonai sifatai tifach u'viyagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tifach u'viyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagidol, Hanoah, Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hasei Avot V'imahot, V'mei Yikol V'nehem, V'man Shemo V'ahava, V'lechem Moshiach Magi. Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, V'chayei mitzivat l'Hoshia. Mashiv haruach u'ori hagashem. Mechakel chayim v'chesed, v'chayei metim v'rachamim rabim. Somet novim v'rofeh olim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayim emunato l'shenei afar, mi'amoka u'midom melech melech minim v'chayeh u'matzliach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah Elohim Baruch atah Adonai v'chayeh amen. Still completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to continue on page 160. 160 in the middle. Let's read together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy, our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Page 163. A little bit of hoda'ah, a little bit of gratitude, and this evening with the tiny humans in their Shabbat service, I asked what they were thankful for and got a whole host of wonderful answers from the little ones. But one little one was thankful for her family and her sister. So that is always, she's 5, I think. So it's a wonderful feeling. So there's always something to be grateful for. It doesn't have to be a big ticket item. It could be something small that you might think is insignificant, but gratitude is never insignificant. And so page 163, let's read responsively at the top. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For the life and nature, harmony and beauty of local tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
Page 164, we'll close out our Amidah, as always, with a prayer for peace. This is the Shalom Ra. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, v'chol heit v'chol sha'a v'shlomecha. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Praise to you, Adonai, who blesses your people, Israel, with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevorech et amo Yisrael, v'shalom. Jump ahead to page 253 for one of our prayers for healing, one of the Mishaberach prayers. And if you have anybody who needs a little bit of extra healing this Shabbat, please keep them close to your heart and in your thoughts as we prepare for Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha Limoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebe'era imotenu Mekor habracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Let's turn to pages 258 and 259, prayers of our community, and the prayer for our congregation. Marilyn, at the top of 258.
Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer, support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction. May we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otazah levacha v'yirah na'avod. Maury, for our country, please.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil of speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your lights shall shine in darkness.
Shalu Shalom Yerushalayim Yishlayu Ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Max, the prayer for Israel in Hebrew, please.
Habibu Shabbat Shabbat, Sur Israel V'Goalo, Berech Et Medina Israel Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu, Hager Alecha B'Avrat Chasdecha, Ivrus Alecha Simchat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitecha, V'Yashecha, Sarecha V'Yoatzecha, V'Takner V'Etza Tova V'Yosemecha, V'Ratata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Shivachat Olam Liyoshvecha V'Nomar Amen.
Amen. Dennis, in English, please, the prayer for Israel.
You gotta give me the page, Dennis.
259. 259.
I'm getting there.
That's right. You're still younger than 259, so that's okay.
Oh, shit. That's Heavenly One.
Mm-hmm.
Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you all who read, especially Maximus. Well done. Double plus good. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
This week it's Parsha Va'era, and God continues to speak to Moshe, reminding him of the ongoing relationship between God, the patriarchs, whose story we finished in the book of Genesis, and Bnei Yisrael. In this week, God makes Moshe five promises to Moshe to relate to Bnei Israel. God says, Hotzeiti, that God says, I will free them. Hitzalti, that God says, I will redeem them. Ga'alti, I will deliver them. Ga'alti, I will redeem them. Lakachti, and I will take them. Now, those 4 promises are the 4 cups at the Passover Seder. But there's a 5th promise, Heveti, and that is, I will bring them into the land that I had swore to their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And this winds up being Elijah's cup. So the 5 promises that God relates to Moshe to tell Bnei Israel are the 5 cups at the Passover Seder. And there's an argument in the Talmud of whether or not there should be a 5th cup or we should drink the 5th cup, which is Elijah's cup. Because when the rabbis were crafting the Seder as we know it, they were in exile. And how can we remember that promise that God said, I will bring you into the land when we are no longer in the land? And so the rabbis argued back and forth about this idea of Heveti, and they said Teku at the very end. It's when Elijah comes, the harbinger of the Messianic era, we'll ask him this question and he'll answer it. So for right now, we put the 5th cup out there, but we don't drink it. So Moshe takes all of these wonderful promises back to the children of Israel, and they reject it. They say, no, thank you. We're not 100% sure you know what you're talking about. So then God tells Moshe to go to Pharaoh. And Moshe is very reluctant to do this because he fears that if his own people won't listen to him, why would Pharaoh listen to him? God tells him, don't worry, I'm going to send your brother Aharon with you. And God warns Moshe that Pharaoh will not easily give in, that God will harden Pharaoh's heart at times. So the brothers approach Pharaoh, and Moshe has a couple of tricks, a couple of some might call them miracles, but some things to impress Pharaoh. He throws his staff on the ground, it turns into a snake. But then Pharaoh's magicians do the same thing. Then Aharon's staff, that is now a snake, swallows Pharaoh's magician's snakes. Pharaoh really doesn't care. He hardens his heart. The next day, the Nile turns into blood. Pharaoh's magicians respond in kind. 7 days later, frogs appear out of the Nile, and there's a beautiful midrash that says it was just one frog. It was a big frog, and every time the Egyptians would whack it with a stick to try to get rid of it, it would open its mouth and it would vomit out hundreds and hundreds of more frogs. And then they would whack the frog again, and he would open his mouth, and more frogs came out. Pharaoh says, ultimately, if you remove these frogs, the people can go. So Moshe gets rid of the frogs, and Pharaoh changes his mind. Then there's the plague of lice. And this time, Pharaoh's magicians can't duplicate it, but he hardens his heart. Then there were the insects, the death of the livestock, the boils, the hail. And after each one, Pharaoh promises to free the people, but ultimately changes his mind. Parsha ends with Moshe saying to Pharaoh, let my people go, or it's going to get worse. And that, friends, is our Torah portion in a nutshell. 26 years ago, yesterday, on the secular calendar, my grandmother died. 26 years ago. Not quite sure where that time went. It was the year I was accepted into rabbinical school. And without my grandmothers, my father's mother, who died when I was 15, and then Graham, who died, I was 29 and had just gotten accepted into rabbinical school. If it weren't for those 2 women, I would not be here today. And so every time one of their yard sites rolls around, I think about time and how quickly time goes. I don't care what the environmentalists say. It's the only time you're ever going to hear me say that. But time is our most precious resource. We can make more money. We can get new friends, more friends, but we can't make more time. In fact, we never have a surplus of time. From the moment of conception, the clock is ticking backwards. And yet people use phrases like waste time and kill time. And to me, those two phrases are like fingers on a chalkboard. Because we don't know how much time we have. I thought my father was going to live to be 100, and he died at 69. I thought my best friend and I would grow old together, and he died at 53. Time is not something that we joke about. Scientists say today, if you make it to age 65 in our current era, you can expect to reach at least 84 and beyond. In 1950, people who reached age 65 were barely around after age 70. So we've added about a decade and a half to our lifespans. Years ago, they used to worry about the quantity of their lifespan. But now, since we've got the quantity taken care of as it seems, we now worry about the quality of our life, the quality of the time that we have on this earth. And so the question for me is, what are we going to do with this time, right? I'm not yet 65. I'm planning on living I'm just planning on living forever. But just because I'm that mean. Psychologists say that while we need to pay attention to our material needs, we need food, we need clothing, we need shelter, we also need to pay attention to our spiritual and psychological needs. Each one enhances the other, right? So if you're taking care of your material needs and you're paying attention to your spiritual and psychological needs, life should be all right. We have these extra years, right? These years that we have added to our lifespan, not because the human body is any better than it was 50, 60, 100 years ago, but now we have better medicines. Medicine has come a much farther. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in England, the average lifespan of young men in the London area was around 24 years old. Right? And the most common cause of death, farm injuries. Somebody would cut himself while plowing the fields. Well, without antibiotics, infection will come and then the person will die. It's the same in any time before we had antibiotics, any time before we had the drugs that we have today. So we're living longer, but we feel rushed. We're running from one place to another, one thing to another. These extra years are not a gift. It seems that they're a burden because, my goodness, we have to get all this stuff done. We have to get all these things accomplished. But as I was thinking about my grandmothers, neither of whom lived to be 85, but they did live beyond 60 or 65, instead of picturing how long we expect to live, and then adding a decade or two, right? Except for this new generation, that might be the first generation that does not live as long as their parents. And part of that is because of what they eat and the fact that they're largely sedentary. They don't get up and move. But instead of thinking about how long we're going to live, try this. Imagine right now, the creator of the universe came and said, you have exactly 10 years to live. That's it, 10 years. Whether you're 85 or 90 right now, whether you're 55, whether you're 19, 20, you have 10 years. And I'll guarantee you those 10 years. But you're going to tell me how you're going to fill those 10 years right now. What are you going to do? You have 10 years, fill them for me. Tell me what you're going to do. How would you do that? What would you do? How would you improve the quality of your life? Because that would be something you would want. How would you nurture your spirit? What would you do to connect more to the creator of all things? How would you improve your community? How would you improve the world? What changes would you make to yourself right now, knowing that you have 10 years to accomplish it? It's never too late to make these kinds of changes. Nobody knows how much time they have. Our bodies, I think, know how much time we have, but they're being quiet about it. It's never too late to bring meaning into your life. It's never too late to stop and say, in the limited time that I have, how am I going to make a difference? Abraham Lincoln famously said, in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. And my wish and prayer is that we all have a great deal of life in our years.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom and good Shabbos. Mari,
Kadoosh.
Kiddush time. Oh, Sam,
I second Maury.
you second Mari, okay. I have them both today. I have them both. Kiddush for Friday night for Shabbat evening services. Vahi erev vahi boker yom hashishi vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayachal Elohim vayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto hivo Shabbat Mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Sabri. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho. V'ahava u'ratzon v'tfilahanu zikaron lema'aseh bereishit hivu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zeher metziat mitzrayim imanu macharta yotanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim, v'shavat kodshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, inhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. Amen. We'll begin closing out our service, page 282. Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol la'teit gedulah li'yotzer reishit shelo asanu k'voyei haratzot v'lo samadu Mishpachot Adama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kaim, V'god Aleinu B'chol Ha'adam. V'anachnu korim, u'mishachavim u'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malkei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She'unot neshamayim v'yotzer haaretz, u'moshe v'charav v'ashmayim v'nahal, u'shliach tuzo, v'godei meromi, u'Eloheinu e'enot, eres ameinu et esulato, Kakatu v'torato, v'yadayo v'hashivota, el levanecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim v'ma'ala, v'haaretz Tagatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, v'melech al kol haaretz. V'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo This week, we observed the following yard sites: Max Mendel, Ruth Shratsky's father; Jack Shear, Francis Bloch's father; Sadie Silverstein, Jack and Ed Hyman's aunt; Charlie C. Trout, Tam Murphy's paternal grandfather; Louis Mazzo, uncle of Steve Jacobson and great uncle of Paul Jacobson; Pauline Wright, Stella Lady's mother, related to Bob; Sheldon Mo Levine, Ethel's son, Regina's father; Mary M. Milligan, Tamara Murphy's maternal grandmother; Barry Ann Whitten, daughter of Carolyn and Keith, niece of Nancy Tarvis; Francis S. Hartz, husband of Millie, Maury's uncle; Israel Lazarus, relative of May; Harry Cutler, Sophie's husband, father of Ray, Ann, and Jack; Lillian Island, wife of Ted; Roger Gross, Barbara's husband, father of Ron, Larry, Dan, and Susan; Ray Y. Rubin, Janet Baker's mother; Harry N. B.R., Tori Witcher's father; Leo Buchholz, related to Anita Buchholz; Minnie Bloom Glick, David Glick's grandmother; Evelyn Brown Silverman, wife of Edward, Edna Baker's sister; Blanche Engel Smith, mother of Bernard Smith; Anna Footlick, Betty Colker's maternal grandmother; Bernice Herman, wife of Jack, mother of Ira and Nancy. May their souls be bound up with the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they always rest in peace.
Amen.
Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 294. Yit Gadol, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma, Yirach, Yirteh, Yamlik Malchuteh, B'chaye Chom, B'yomei Chom, U'chaye D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'bizman Karev, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Barach, Le'olam, Ulomei Almaya. Yitvarach, Yishtabach, Yitvahar, Yitraham, Yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmei, Shah, Riku. Le'imam, B'kol, Birchata, B'shirata, Tushbachata, B'nechamata, La'amiram, B'alma, B'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shloma, Rabba, Mim Shemaya. L'chaim Aleinu, B'al Kol Yisrael, B'yimru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, B'Roham, Yahaseh Shalom. Aleinu, B'al Kol Yisrael, B'yimru, Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Just a couple of quick announcements before we head off to the Oneg, sponsored by Judy Lentz this evening. Services tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Please join us live. We are here live, and it's always great when there's a bunch of people in the room. And then on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Monday night is, Sunday afternoon, there's a sisterhood meeting.
At noon, yeah.
At noon, right here at the synagogue at noon.
Food. There will be food.
Apparently there will be food. So there you go. There you go. Monday night, our deep dive. Wednesday night, it's the Yiddish choir, the best little choir, the choir with the most from coast to coast. Please join us on Wednesday nights. It's a great time. Thursday, nothing. And then Friday, we're back for Shabbat services. 2 weeks hence, that first weekend in February, it is going to be a big, big weekend. So please keep your eyes out for the emails that will be coming into your inboxes very soon. That Friday night, we'll have a Tiny Humans Shabbat for our young people, and we will have Shabbat services here, but we're going to have a speaker, a friend of mine, Jeffrey Cohen, who is the executive director of Jewish Veg, which is a national Jewish vegetarian and vegan organization. And I sit on their board of rabbis. And he's a dear friend of mine, and he's going to come and he's going to be talking Friday night and then again on Shabbat morning. And Jeff is a very interesting character and always has something wonderful to say. That Saturday night, we're going to have our speakeasy. You would have gotten that email today. There will be more emails about that because you got to know the password. You got to know how many times to knock. I'm telling you, we don't want the G-man busting in and stealing our hooch. So be looking for that. And then that Sunday, believe it or not, that Sunday is the Tu B'Shvat Seder. So we have something for the little ones, something for the not so little ones, and then something for the families, all on that weekend. And the best part of it all is it's all free. So all you have to do is be a member of the synagogue and show up. I'm telling you, this is, they say that there are no such things as free lunches, but there's a free Saturday night party here in 2 weeks. So make sure you RSVP. Lots going on that weekend. That's it, I think. I think that's it. I hope that's it, because I got tired just trying to remember all of that. All right, let's close out on 321. Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Haba B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'iknasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nivra B'Achari Yiblot HaKol Levado Yimlok Noga V'hu Haya V'hu Hover V'hu Yiyeh V'tipara V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni L'hamshil Lo L'hachmira V'li'reishi V'litachlit V'lo ha'os V'ha'misra V'hu Eili V'chai Go'ali V'shochet li V'yetzara V'hu nisi Umanos li V'natosi V'yom Ekra V'yahano V'hibruchi V'yeti shan V'yahira V'ibruchi V'yati Adonai li V'lo ira. All right, let's see who says hello, shalom, or good evening to us through the intertubes. We have ML Glazer says good Shabbat from Herman and Mary Lee. Thank you to the Glazers and Shabbat Shalom to the Glazers. There's Mom. Shabbat Shalom to all from Rabbi's Mom and Cliff. Thank you, Mom and Cliff. Hope all have a peaceful weekend and a good week ahead. From your mouth to God's ears, thank you. And Kyle Swan, so many blessed memory in your site. Yes, and may their memories always be a blessing. There's Donna Wilson. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Donna. Same to you. All right, friends, lots going on here in the next couple of weeks. Please join us for everything, or as much as you can, which should be everything. Want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, a good Shabbos. We'll see you here soon. Please be careful out there. Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom. As usual, very good.
Good job.
Thank you.